Sure.
All right, so we were doing a bunch of one-step equations. Let's, excuse me, let's jump right back into that. Okay, so last time we talked about this idea that when you solve for a variable, you undo the math operation. So like in this problem, you undo subtraction with addition because you look at the side with the variable, okay? W minus 4, you read it out loud, or you look at for the math operation. How do you undo subtraction by 4? What do you do to undo this on the left? Do you remember from last time?
Yeah, you do addition, so you would add 4.
You would add 4, yeah. And so we talked about addition and subtraction, writing the variable on the left always. And then we kind of got caught up into a little bit of like, well, how do you deal with positives and negatives? So for example, let's do another problem. Let's say it's x plus 3 equals negative 4. On the left side, it's plus 3. So you undo addition. You undo addition with subtraction. So you subtract 3 from both sides of the equation.
Okay. So
Okay.
would x be -1?
And this is where we ran into some issues. So I want to talk about the two cases. There's case 1, which is same sign. Okay. Same sign. So we're going to talk about how to add and subtract integers right now. And it's a quick review, and then you'll have it down hopefully forever. All right, so when they're the same sign, we're gonna look at something really simple, like 2 plus 5, okay? These are both positive. That's what I mean by same sign. They're either both positive or they're both negative. Both positive or both negative, okay? So these are both positive. The reason they're positive is 2's got, it's actually got a little plus in front of it that you don't write. The plus operator means that this is positive. And you already know the answer. You already know that it's 7, but here's why. When they're same sign, the first thing you do is you keep the sign, okay? Which means that you know what the answer is positive, okay? The second thing you do is you add the numbers without the sign. Okay, now when they're both positive, it doesn't make much sense, but you treat them as, okay, it's 2 and 5. 2 plus 5 is 7, okay?
Yeah.
So it'll make more sense here when they're both negative. So like, let's say it's -3 plus -4, okay? So step 1, because they're both negative, -3, -4, even though there's a plus here, it's still negative because of that negative in front. You keep the sign, okay? So that means your answer is negative. Second step is you add the numbers without the sign. So you look at this as 3 and 4. You take 3 and you add it to 4. What is 3 plus 4?
Sorry, 7.
7, and then that negative comes with.
Okay.
Okay, so when they're both negative, the answer is negative. When they're both positive, the answer is positive. Now, one more example here, one more thing that you'll see is you might see something like this: -6, -3, okay? These are also same sign. The first one is negative. This subtraction operator really goes with the 3. Okay, and he said he maybe did this kind of at the end of the year, so it might not be as familiar to you. The other way to kind of see this is it's -6, and then you can change, you can make it plus negative. You guys do that at all in the classroom?
Yeah.
And that's totally okay. That's allowed. It's good to do. It's up to you if you want to do that or not. That could help. Now, again, the algorithm here is that you keep the sign. So we know the answer is negative, okay? And then you add the numbers without the sign. So 6 plus 3. What is 6 plus 3?
9.
9. And then you bring the negative over. The answer is -9.
Okay.
Okay, so 2 rules to remember. You keep the sign, and then you add the numbers without the sign. So I'm going to give you a couple of problems to try. Any questions, though, before I have you do that?
No.
Okay. -4 minus 8, -3 plus -3, and then 6 plus 2, and then -9 plus -4. All right, so go ahead and try these for me, please, and give me your answers whenever you have them.
Would the first one be -12? Would the next one be -6?
Okay, keep going.
Would 6 plus 2 be +8?
Okay, good.
Would the next one be -13?
Really good, really good. Okay, so that's the same sign example. So case 2 is when they're opposite in sign. Okay, and that means you have one positive and one negative.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so case 1, if we go back and look at case 1 again, same sign. They're either both positive or both negative. That's the easy one, easier. Case 2 is when they're opposite in sign, one positive, one negative. Okay. And we'll start with, again, a really simple example. Like, what is 7 minus 4? And you already know the answer. What is 7 minus 4?
3.
3. Okay. Now, what is the algorithm? What is the recipe, the steps? Well, the first thing is you actually have to determine the sign of the answer. And you're like, how do I do that? Well, I will tell. You have to determine which is further from 0. So which is further from 0 now? Because it's +7 and -4. +7 and -4. Which is further from 0?
+7.
So we know the answer is positive. Okay.
Okay.
Second step is you take the larger and you subtract the smaller without the signs.
Okay,
So
so it
you
would
look at
be
this as 7 and 4, 7 minus 4,
okay.
which is 3, +3. And we already knew that, but that's the algorithm. You determine the sign by determining which number is further from 0. Then you take the larger and subtract the smaller without the signs. Okay, so it'll make more sense. And this is the easiest example. It'll make more sense in the next ones. Okay, so let's look at another example. Let's say it's -5 plus 7. Okay. Do you agree that these are opposite in signs?
Yes.
Okay, I agree too. All right. So the first thing you have to do is determine the sign. Which is further from 0, -5 or +7?
+7.
So we know the answer is positive. And then we look at the numbers without the sign. So you look at it as 5 and 7. You take the larger and subtract the smaller.
Okay. So 2.
So 2. So the answer is 2. And maybe you already knew that, but that's just something to kind of think about here.
Yeah.
All right. Now, how about, what if it's something like this? 6 minus 9. Are these opposite in signs?
Yes.
Yes, they
No.
are.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
because the 6 is really positive. And this is important. You have to not just believe, but like be able to do it on your own. I mean,
Yeah.
faith is, it's not a faith thing. It's like, you got to like be like, okay, it's +6. The subtraction operator goes with the 9. So this is -9. This is +6. So the
Okay.
first thing is determine the sign of the answer, which is further from 0.
So -9.
So we know the answer is negative. Okay. And then you look at the two numbers without the signs. You say, okay, it's 6 and 9. You take the larger and subtract the smaller.
So that would be 3.
3, and then bring over the negative.
-3.
Okay, like that. Yeah,
I have a question.
of course. Go ahead.
So when we added +6 and -7, and you said that the negative carries over with the 9 since there's like no sign, would it be the same for addition? Like if
What do you mean? Like, are you asking about -6 plus 7, something like this?
yeah, would the positive carry over to the 7?
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes, good question, because that's the next, I mean, that is the next example here. It's again,
Okay.
which is further from zero, -6, or, and like you said, the plus goes with the 7. So, which is further from zero? Well, it's the
7. So
plus
positive.
7. Yeah, so we know the answer is positive. And then you say, okay, well, it's 6 and 7, which is larger.
7.
Okay, so 7 minus 6 becomes positive 1.
So if I did this like in class, would it be wrong if I added the positive, or do I just add the number?
I'm just giving
I
you
mean,
like a way to do this.
sorry,
You can make
I
up your,
think I think I worded that wrong. I meant like for the answer, like if this was one of the questions and the answer was +1, do I add the plus or just the number?
okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, so what you're asking, you're kind of asking two things. You're like kind of asking, do I say +1 and do I write +1, or do I just write 1 and say 1? And
Yeah.
it's kind of like that whole like 4 equals X versus X equals 4. They're both correct, but what's preferred, this is preferred, and just saying the numbers preferred. You only say negative, you only give the sign when it's -1 or -1.
Oh, okay.
Those are just preferences in math. But it's a good question, because you're going to be talking about your answers or explaining them. Yes, and it's a subtlety, right? Like why? Well, I don't know. That's just the way things go. Okay, so let me give you some problems to try on your own here. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead and give these 4 a try, please, and let me know what you come up with.
Okay. Okay, with the first one being -3,
Going?
and with the one under that being -1,
Good.
and then 8 minus 4 is 4, positive 4. And then the last one would be -2.
Good. Really good. Okay. So the real challenge is when I give you a mixture of the two. So there's the case one that we talked about, which is when they are same sign. Okay. And then
Yeah.
there's case 2, which we just talked about, which is opposite sign. All right. And you have to be able to distinguish between them here. So I'm going to give you some problems to try, and you have to decide whether they're same sign or opposite sign, and then you have to
Okay.
use the appropriate rules. So this is the real like challenge of it to remember. So some practice problems help here. Uh, so go ahead and give these a try, please.
Okay. Okay, so for the first one, I got -4.
Go ahead and work them all out. Let's just have
Oh,
you try them all, and then give me all.
I got all of them.
Okay, go ahead then.
So for the first one, I got -4.
Good.
And then the one under that, I got +3.
Okay, so these are same sign.
Oh, I thought, oh yeah. Yeah, okay, I got -3.
Nope. So
No?
what's the rule? What's the rule for same sign? Like I agree, the answer is negative, but what's the rule for same sign? What do you do after you keep the sign?
You add it?
You add them without the signs. So you look at this as 3 and 6.
Oh, okay, would it be -9?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
then would that one be 4? 6
Yes.
minus 2.
Keep
And
going.
I didn't get the last one because I didn't know how, like, because of the
Okay. Are they
like
same sign or opposite in sign?
opposite.
Okay. So what is the rule for that?
Do you subtract?
Well, you first have to determine the sign. So which is further from 0, +4 or -4?
+4?
Okay. Let's look at a number line here. Let's say that's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's +4. -1, -2, -3, -4. What do you notice about their distance from 0?
They're both the same.
Yes. So this is actually 0.
Oh, okay. So there's no sign. Oh wait.
Not with 0. Yeah, it's one of the
Yeah,
exceptions.
I
Yeah.
just
So
thought about what I just said.
no, it's good. It's a good question. It's good because like it's 0 is this only number that has no sign. You occasionally do see it with a sign in calculators and some other things, but that's a different class.
Okay.
Let's try a couple more here. All right, so go ahead and try these for me, please.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if I did this right because my brain kind of like blinked. So would the first one be -7?
Well, it is negative. What's the rule for same sign?
Okay, that's what I thought because I knew I had to add them, but I
All right.
also wasn't sure because it's subtraction. So would it
So you
be
have to,
-11?
yes. Good.
Okay. Would the next one be -14? Positive,
You
I
mean
meant, sorry.
the one to the right here?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, these are also same sign,
So positive?
but they're both negative.
Oh, so we add it?
So what I'm concerned is, did you write these rules down?
No.
Okay, well there's the issue there. So what I
Okay.
want you to do, 'cause I got to switch to your sisters. I want you to write those rules down and have them ready for next time. That way you've got them in front of you, because that's the issue. That's why you're struggling, because you don't have the rules and
Okay.
you're trying to remember and things like that. So, um,
Okay.
all right.
You want me to
All
go
right.
get my sister?
Yes.
Okay. Hi,
Victoria, how are you today?
it's Julia.
Oh, Julia, sorry, I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay.
Without the visual, I will continue to make this mistake because
It's okay.
much more visual. So last time we started doing some exponent stuff, doing order of operations, looking for some stuff like that. You did really
Mhm.
well. So we might as well go to a new topic here, talk about solving one-step equations. Okay, that's kind of the lead, like after you do order of operations, you couple what directions you go, we'll just do some one-step equations. So these are, you may find these are very basic, very trivial, which I hope means we can get through a lot of material, but we'll just see. So one step literally means one step. One step means one math operation: add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Okay, meaning like you only do one of them. Just one.
Mhm.
One means one. You know, at
Yeah.
like Halloween, when they say take one piece of candy, you take, one piece of candy.
Mhm.
Now you undo addition with subtraction.
Mhm.
Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's take a very basic equation. Let's say it's x plus 3 equals 10. You always look at the side with the variable.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I say sides, there's equal sign, there's the left, and there's the right.
Yes.
Okay. So at the side with the variable is the left side. And sometimes it's good to just read it out loud. You're like, all right, x plus 3. Oh, plus. You undo plus with
Subtraction.
subtraction. You subtract 3 from both sides. So now, one of the reasons we were doing this whole order of operations and all this stuff that we've been doing is so that when you see 10 minus 3, you know how to do it. You know how to get the answer. What is 10 minus 3?
Oh, you're asking? Sorry,
Yes, I'm
7.
asking you. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, 7.
Long pause. Yes. What is 10 minus 3?
7.
7. Okay. So let's look at another example. Let's say it's x plus 5 equals -3. Okay, so you look at the side with the variable, the left side. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
x plus 5, I undo addition with subtraction, subtract 5 from both sides. What is -3 minus 5? And it's okay if you got to come off to the side and write it, or use some of the stuff we've been talking about. That's totally okay.
Okay. -2.
Try again. It is negative. The answer is negative. That's good. It is not -2 though.
You add though, you add because of the same sign. So
Yes.
8, -8.
-8. Very good. Okay. So you can see that reason we spent all that time is that, hopefully, with some more practice, you'll always be able to give the right answer. Okay.
Mhm.
Now the variable could be on the other side of the equation. Like, let's say it's -10 equals w plus 4. Okay.
Yep.
The variable could be on the right. So you always look at the side with the variable.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and you say, okay, +4. How do I do +4? You subtract.
Subtract.
Okay. So now give me the number on the left.
W equals -14.
Good. So you actually already answered the next part, which is you have to, you should, and should, I hate that word, but that's kind of the right word here, is it's best, it's preferred to put the variable on the left.
Yeah.
Now, it could also be the case that, the order is mixed up a little bit. It could be like -5 equals 3 plus y.
Mhm.
Okay. And you have to see that this 3 is really +3. It
Mhm.
has nothing to do with the plus here. It's +3 because there's a plus that's not written in front of the number. These
Mhm.
are just conventions in math. I don't,
Yeah.
I'd probably say it's easier just to put plus in front, but then there's more symbols. I don't make the rules. So you
Okay.
undo with subtraction, you subtract 3 from both sides. What is the final answer? And that's
Y equals -8.
y equals -8. Good. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So the next thing is that you undo subtraction with addition.
Mhm.
Of the variables like r minus 5 equals -2. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, on the side with the variable, you're subtracting by 5, subtraction by 5, you undo with plus 5. R equals, what would that be? -2 plus
Oh.
5.
That'd be +3.
Good. Okay. And just like the previous examples, it could be that the variable is on the right. Okay. Sorry, we're doing the other one, -6. So you undo by adding 6
Mhm.
to both sides. All right.
Yep.
And notice again, these are all one-step equations, one step, but you should only
Yeah.
have to do one thing to solve them. If there's more than
Yeah.
one, it's not a one-step equation.
Uh-huh.
So what is the answer here? What is the value of B?
B equals positive 5.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So hopefully you're getting a feel for this. The other type of example you might see is, let's say it's a -2 equals -1 plus P. So
Mhm.
sometimes it is subtracting, but it's a negative number. Like it really, you could look at -6 as a -6 here.
Mhm.
Sometimes the number is kind of sticking out like this, and you still undo it with addition. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the positive. It's the fact that it's negative. You're adding 1 to both sides. What does P equal?
-1.
-1. Good. Okay. So by now you probably know the drill. I'm gonna give you 4 problems to try here, and I want you to be able to solve these for the variable. Let's go back. And let's go -5 equals u minus 3, and all right, so here's 4 problems to try. If you have questions,
Okay.
please ask, but work them out and let me know what you come up with.
Okay. Okay, I'm done.
All right, give me your answers here.
So for the first one, I got W equals -5.
Okay,
And
good.
then
And
for this, what?
keep going. Keep going.
Okay. For the second one, I got X equals -25.
Good.
For the third one, I got Q equals -2. And then for the last one, I got X equals -10.
All right, so there's an issue with this one here. That the last one is correct. So tell me what you did to solve this this one on the top right here.
So I went
I'm
on the
sorry,
side.
you said -2, didn't you? That
Yeah.
is correct. I'm sorry,
But
I misheard. I thought I heard something else. And I probably wrote -2. So good job, really good job on that. Okay, so now we can move to multiplication division. So you undo multiplication with
addition.
division
Yeah.
with division. Okay,
Division. Yeah.
it makes sense, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say it's 2x equals -10. So you look at the side with the variable. You don't care about the other side. You only care about the side with the variable.
Okay.
2 is multiplying the x. Okay, when there's, I call it squeezed together, because there's no multiplication operator. Sometimes you see a dot, like you might see 2 dot x equals
Yeah.
-10. You
Mhm.
rarely see like 2 times x, because
Yeah.
the times and the x, you just don't see that. But you
Yeah.
undo it with division. Now you, instead of division, you use a fraction bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say, okay, divide by 2, or you can go through the whole thing, doesn't really matter. 2 divided by 2 is 1. What is negative 10 divided by 2?
-5.
Good. Now, this is kind of like, your sister's kind of asking about this. This is related. It's like, you don't write the 1 in front. So you just write x equals -5. That's your final answer. And we've been doing like you said, w equals -5. You didn't say 1w or 1q or 1x. Even though there is a 1, you don't write that.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's another thing to keep in mind is you always divide by the number in front of the variable.
Okay.
Okay, now that'll make more sense in this next example here. Let's say it's -3y equals 27. Okay, what is the number in front of y?
3, -3.
-3. So it includes the sign. The number includes the sign. You divide by -3. What does y equal here?
7.
Try again.
Oh, oops. 8.
Try again.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Okay.
9, 9, 9, 9.
Well, that's kind of correct. What about the sign?
Well, I
You
thought
got
since 7 was bigger, you wouldn't.
So now that's where you're mixing the add and subtract rules with the multiply
Oh, yeah,
and
because this is
divide
a,
rules.
yeah. Okay. So it would be -9.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now it could also be the case that the number is on the it is that the variable's on the right. So here are the variables on the right. You still look at the side with the variable. Don't get distracted by the variable being on one side or the other. So
So
you divide by -2. W equals what in this problem?
-3. +3.
Okay.
+3.
Yep. So again, that's where, that's why we spend all that time on those sign rules, add, subtract, multiply, back. It all comes back here. Like sometimes you do math and you're like, what is this? Why do we even need to know this? Well, in this case, because you're actually using it in the next section of the course. So something to think about here. So let's have you try a few problems here. Let's go 15x equals -30. -3 equals -3y. Funny, I'd actually equal sign. We need those. Yeah, actually, let's just try those two. Just to have
Okay.
you try those two. Tell me what you come up with.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm not completely sure if these are right, but for the first one, I got x equals -2.
Okay.
And then
So
for the second one, I got was y equals 1.
you're also correct. Yeah. So this was another on the right. Here's another one of those review things. It's like if you have the same number over the same number, it's always 1.
Yeah.
But like for example, 4 over -4, they're not exactly the same because the one is positive, one's negative, but the 4 over 4 is 1, but the positive over the negative becomes negative. But if it's like -6 over -6, they are the same number, so it must be +1.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Let's do. So last kind of topic here is that we we undo division with multiplication. Okay, so let's say it's like x divided by 5 equals 3.
Okay.
Well, on the right, I'm sorry, on the left here, you see it's division by 5. So you end up multiplying both sides by 5. Now on the left, this cancels.
Okay.
On the right, you get 15.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's like y over -2 equals -6? Well, same thing. You multiply by -2. You multiply by whatever number you're dividing by, just like
Okay.
before. You just like in the previous problems where you divide by whatever number, or you divide. You know, we were dividing by 15, dividing by -3. Here you multiply by 5. You multiply by -2. It's the
Mhm.
same kind of sequence here. Y equals 12, like that.
Okay.
All right, so if we do some lessons next week, we'll definitely pick up here. So one-step equations lead to two-step equations, which are just an extension of this. And you're doing a
Okay.
great job. So if you have time, definitely take a look at the video, work out the examples if you can. But we gotta go ahead and stop here for today. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. I can click the right buttons.